Hi, I'm Eddie Moretti. Today I'm with Ben Anderson, who's an independent filmmaker of documentaries and a writer. We have a book out right now called No Worse Enemy. Ben has been working with us at Vice for a number of years. He's also been reporting from Afghanistan for a number of years. He was first embedded with British forces around 2007.
Anybody hit? Anyone hit?
But he recently made a trip to Afghanistan in December of 2012. So we're gonna watch Ben's new documentary, which is called This Is What Winning Looks Like. It's a shocking and an eye-opening look at the state of Afghanistan today.
Tonight I can announce that over the next year, another 34,000 American troops will come home from Afghanistan. This drawdown will continue, and by the end of next year, our war in Afghanistan will be over.
Afghan forces defending Afghan people and enabling the government of this country to serve its citizens. This is victory. This is what winning looks like. And we should not shrink from using these words.
You know, over here you've got a PB commander who we know is kidnapping boys and sexually molesting them. So try doing that day in and day out, working with child molesters. It wears on you after a while.
International troops will continue to train, advise, and assist the Afghans and fight alongside them when needed. But we will shift into a support role as Afghans step forward. But we must finish the job we started in Afghanistan and end this war responsibly.
This is what the American military is saying and the American government, but you don't believe it because you've seen to the contrary.
Yeah, and the British and American Marines on the ground don't believe it either. I mean, all it is now is about getting out and saving face.
Yeah, so
and we're not leaving because we've achieved our goals, we're leaving because we've given up on achieving those goals. I think that's the only goal now, is to somehow look good as we pull out. It could even be worse than that, because all the fighting has been to introduce a corrupt, hated and feared government who in some areas make the Taliban look like the good guys. And when you remember that the Taliban were welcomed into power in the mid-90s because they looked like the good, just Muslims in comparison to the warlords, it feels eerily similar today.
Go ahead and give you guys a quick class on hygiene and cleanliness of the PB. A big thing is separating, like where you shower, eat, use the restroom. You want to keep it separate. So if you're eating, where you just showered, where you're using the restroom, you're pretty much just putting all that bacteria you just got rid of, putting it right back on your skin, using your hands to eat, and it's just going right back in your system. It's going to cause sickness, diseases.
دا زموږ خپل کار دی، معنا چې جامع پای کوو موږ ته د مهینو درس راکړه، تورنیکټ درس راکړه. دا سړی چې سرخان ته کښیني لاس پرې وي باره ورته کښیني ورته دا ګرده پوه دي، معنا ګرده د درس یې ویلی میشه ته سوی دی دوستان و دستی بل درس.
Let me explain one more thing, all right? We're taking time out of our lives, the Marines are, okay? Everybody here is taking time out of our lives to come down here, away from our families, to help you guys. We're not here to offend anybody. If we say something that may offend you, you know, we apologize ahead of time. Let us know, and we'll fix it.
Everyone believes that the training is being accelerated now as we leave. The training is almost non-existent now. Most of the forces have pulled back to the main bases, which they never leave. Because, as I say, the people on the ground, I think, have given up on there being any chance of success.
Bondi?
Something an old guy. I think he's living in there.
Hey.
Bondi?
Mr. Wujio. Mr. Wabasi. Bandihana?
Turjuman.
Tarjuman.
Okay.
So they've got 4 secret prisoners who they stuffed in the furthest room and filled the door with sandbags, so they were trying to hide from the Marines.
Sangin, dalta dana nakuriya.
How long have they been there?
Wale rawiste است. Taliban است?
They are?
No, they are not Taliban.
لاسونه بیخي دغه د پرسیدلې
Oh.
Hey. No.
I want you.
He's handcuffed. Okay. Listen, okay. We'll leave you here. This is
So nafara? Oh, there's 4 guys.
4?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go talk to the PB. Tell him I was going to the bathroom back there and I heard voices back in the corner. Who are those?
اوس وکیل صاحب ما راغوښتي دي هغه سره خپل خبره خلاصه کړه بندیان ما تر څو پورې کښېنولي دي خادواله راویستلي چې ما نه علاقه وایم تر څو پورې چې زه سبا راځم د وطن سره راپورته کړي دي اوس ما دلې خپل دوی بیا یا دغه جرم یې موږ ته نه دی معلوم بالا بس دغه دوی راپورته کړه په لاس یې ماته راکړه ما ورته خوندي کړي دي اوس وکیل صاحب راځي بار یې په لاس ورکوم وکیل نظرګل د خاده سره برای تللي و دا خلک یې راپورته کړل.
Can we see if they're in our system with the eye scan? Can we do the eye scan?
These guys?
Yeah. Can we take them out and see if they're in our system? See if they're.
Why موږ کول چې دوی په خپل سیستم کې واچو؟
یا ورته بندیان ناستي تر څو پورې چې مشر رانیسي دغه رسوا نه کړي بیا داسې بندیان نه
Who dropped them off? خطاب؟
ترجمان ورته اوس وکیل صاحب راځي زه به پله ورسم دښته به ورسم باره به خپل خبرې ورسره شریک د بندیان په باره کې
Can we give them water?
وای دغه اوبه وړای سو
یا اوبه ورته شیله مو وړي هغه ته موږ تر څو پورې چې موږ معنا خپل دغه کوو وکیل صاحب چې راسي بار یې راباسو ډوډۍ مو ورکوو خپل اوبه ورکوو ته څه شی مو وړي تر څو پورې
نه
ستاسې اجازه نشته سمه زه پلال ته ورسم ور نه
Just wait. I don't want to piss them off. It's their show.
They show their prisoners. If they kill them, they'll learn.
We gotta prevent that though.
Right.
Doesn't the U.S. military have more, capable kind of resources to do? This is literally nation building from the psyche up.
Well, the idea has always been fight your way into a town, clear the Taliban out, then all these other people come in to train the Afghans in governance and build infrastructure and so on. That other bit rarely ever happens, and certainly doesn't happen anywhere near as much as it should be happening. So it's left to guys like him, who as you say, are trained to fight, not to do all these very complicated, difficult jobs. And later that day, a local politician arrived. He was the man behind the taking of the prisoners.
Was the purpose of the whole mission, the operation last night, just to go get his brother back and get those Taliban, or was there another mission and they just happened to get these guys?
دا بندیان هغه خو نه ټینګېږي هغه په کلایګاس کې دي چې اوس دا علاقه مې زما ورور هلته وژني ما دې ګواښ وکړ که په دوې ورځې کې د سنګینه ورک نه شوې موږ ستا ورور وژنو نو په دې خاطر ما دلته کښېنم چې زما ورور مړ نه کړي نه دوی اوس ما سره تبادله کوي زما ورور دوی راولي په دغو کسانو زه دا ور علاقه کوم نور جرم موږ نه ورسره کوو نه وو نه بندیان وو چې ما چې زما ورور راوسي زه دوی وړو ور علاقه کوم.
If he can only arrest Taliban, that's what that warrant was for the Taliban that kidnapped his brother. Kidnapping their brothers is just the same as kidnapping any random person. It's kidnapping. It's a crime. It's not legal to kidnap just any person, only if they're Taliban and they catch them. Other than being the brothers of the Taliban who kidnapped his brother, haven't done anything wrong. They haven't committed a crime. So they cannot be arrested if they haven't done anything wrong themselves. Just because they're the brothers of the Taliban does not mean that they are Taliban themselves.
This shows how powerless they are. They don't really know. All they know is 4 guys have been illegally taken, are being illegally detained, not fed, not given water, and it's being hidden from them. They're playing catch up all the time. That's all they can do. The Marines I was with turned up to spend the night at this patrol base, but the Afghan police had pulled the security barrier down and were selling it as scrap metal at the local bazaar. So they had no security whatsoever in their base, so the Marines couldn't stay.
All gone. Basically looks like no blood or anything. So they just took them out of here. So they were still here, but I don't know where they are right now. You got to find out where to draw the line as far as where you want to try to make them in. We don't want to make them into American police. That's not the intent of being over here. But we also want to teach them just the human rights piece of it. That if you do have a detainee or a prisoner, that you still have to give them water.
So while the Marines were somewhere else, they snuck them into the back of the truck and snuck them out the gate.
Leave it!
It's sort of a slightly half-hearted effort to make them stop, because they haven't got the power to make them stop.
I got a good look at two of them. Two of them had their face covered up, so we can still look at the head pictures. See who they might be.
It's hey, if you don't have your gear on, get it on.
So after the truck went out with the 4 detainees in the back, 3 surrounding police patrol bases came under attack from the Taliban.
South-southeast. How far? At least 300 meters.
As soon as the Taliban see the US Marines truck somewhere, they don't attack it. They only attack the weak spots.
Right.
Although some bullets eventually came towards the watchtower that we were in.
Hey, what are they shooting at?
Hey, tell them to watch out. They're just a fucking...
Talk to them, Donald.
Truck coming in.
Ay بخته اقل تا کوچینان دا وای چې تکان مکو چې کوچینان باندې لګي
شدلی پروکر سودنی
بخته سو تکان وکړه
Don't shoot until you can see them.
وای چشته
وای تر څو چې نه دی لیدل نه دی کتل
ورته عدالت نه سي ورته خو دغه سیز مشاوره مولي ورته زه دوند وخت ما تر اوسه نه دی ورکړی
inside the camp and how can I see them if I don't shoot they will stop
wait till they come
But
out.
then if you don't shoot, if you don't see them, then you can't hit them with the bullets. You're gonna waste ammo.
وای چې ته مهمت په اماسه مسافه چې صبر وکړه چې تر څو ویني بیا
Kids ran into the tree line.
وای چې هغه ته کوچینان هم دا اوس مو ولیدل
کوچینان روان ولا
کوچینان روان دي
You got any eyes over there to the left?
Negative.
Got nothing.
Where, sir?
And he was so angry he couldn't shoot. He just grabbed the big machine gun, ran out the gate, and then just fired wildly.
He's just walking and shooting. He's not aiming at anything.
Around at the corner.
Yeah, they're just walking down the alley shooting at nothing. They're just walking down the alley like this, shooting.
وقتبه برا ورابه که تبه ورا که مهمات برا که
Not if we don't have it.
وای چې موږ نه لرو
ځان وخپل نستیمو بسته و اخر موږ برا په دغه تیګو جنگ ورسره کو ګوره دا تیګي و
if you run out of ammunition you will use these rocks to fight the Taliban.
All right. Good to go.
This is another patrol base where they're advising the police, and on the police base there's this huge weed plant like right next to their little area where they have their meetings inside the police base.
Did you see weed everywhere?
Everywhere. Every police base has got a little garden.
Well, you have 2 options. You can go to PHQ and you can tell them your situation. Or you're going to have to learn to work with what you have. But I recommend you go to PHQ and you tell them your situation and show them that weapon and demand that they give you more weapons to replace that.
They don't understand that, yeah, actually, there has been a transformation. We are supposed to take the lead. They're still expecting the US forces to take the lead.
Well, and that's what amazed me is how it hasn't got through to the Afghans yet. I mean, one Afghan soldier said to me, oh no, it'll be great when the Americans leave because all the money they had for weapons and equipment, we'll get that money. And I was saying,
it doesn't
you
really
won't.
work like
no,
that.
No. And also someone somewhere, I'm sure, has said, Remember when we supported the Mujahideen against the Russians, and remember we left all those weapons there, and we had to spend years and millions of dollars getting those weapons, particularly the Stinger missiles, back. We're not making that same mistake again. So these guys have got AK-47s, a few RPGs, unarmoured pickup trucks, a few Humvees, which are not safe enough for the Americans or British to drive anywhere, and that's all they've got.
Well, here's the thing. We're trying to get you to the point where you can operate without heavily depending on American help. But nothing is going to happen until you sit down and you show us a plan.
چې موږ به د طالب دشمن ورو شو چې په دې خوا دی هغه به دم غړي به غزما جوړ کړل د مینو ټیم را سره وو لاري به ساګه کار وکړي مشترک غزما او دا تاسیس دغه سیستم د بیخي د سست تر غلې دغه د پاره چې تا ما سره وعده کړې ده چې زستا ته مجاز کوم بیا به اساس زم بیا به خپل دی وای دی او دا تاسو نه مجاز کړې زسنګ خپل دی وای دی په وسو
You need to come up with a plan on how you're going to use all your men and attack this IED factory, and we'll be behind you, helping you out. But you're right, times are changing. The Marines are no longer going to take the lead anymore. You have to learn how to operate as if we are no longer here. I hear great things about you. You're a good PB commander, so you have a lot of men here, and I think you're going to do great things.
And he eventually gets through to him that you have to come up with a plan yourself, then you can do it, and we'll support you if need be. So they leave with the police commander saying, okay, I'll come up with a plan within a few days and we'll do it. And a few days later he just vanished on leave and no one's heard from him since. No plan.
Helmet on. Alright, we gotta go. Put your helmet on, Saeed. Saeed, put your helmet on, brother.
At another patrol base, as usual, they didn't seem to want the Marines' help or advice.
You can just have your guys gather around right here, and then we'll show them what you do.
Well, based on the sandbags that we have, that's all we got. So let's go ahead and fill those up. Once we have filled those up, like I said, 5 of you guys will filling up the sandbags. The other 5 is gonna help out, get the other one fixed. Yeah, and then we'll switch. Hey, if you guys don't want to do it right now, I completely understand that. All right, but we're here to help you guys out. If you guys don't want our help, we'll leave the sandbags. You guys figure it out. We're taking our gear with us. We're here to help you guys out to make your tower safer. That way you guys don't get shot from all directions, all right? Babunas? Anywhere here? Huh? You gonna check? Yes or no? What? What? By the way.
Policeman at the checkpoint was smoking weed, which is kind of normal. But 2 of the policemen filling sandbags now are out of their brains on something else, something stronger, opium or heroin, literally nodding off as they stand up or sit down, filling the sandbags. So while all that was happening, someone fired a few shots at the watchtower that they were filling sandbags for.
Is that him? What's he shooting at?
What are you shooting at?
Shooting back to the west. They don't have positive ID.
What are you shooting at? What are you shooting at, brother?
But the PD commander wants to shoot
where?
Just to show force. How copy?
Huh? You see Taliban? Where'd you see Taliban? Yeah, where?
ده تو واشه ورته دغه چې و د ټکی ورته دغه بغچو سکی ورته دلې ناسي ورته وا
Taliban is still in the garden and sometimes they're gonna shoot us.
They're in the garden and gonna shoot at us?
Yeah.
ورته یو ټکی دا چې و دوه ټکی چې وکړه
Pull before something like.
They haven't seen who just shot at them. They just want to get some shots fired back as a sort of show of force.
What's that? They're in the garden?
In the gardens.
You gotta make sure you see them. You gotta make sure you see them because you're just firing rounds down there and you don't know what you're firing at. You gotta see them before you fire.
قبل از او که ببینید تا حالا خوب مشخص باز فایر کو بالش وقتی گوش ملکی هم میباشه امکان بودنش هست.
پروا نداره دیگه ملکی هم طالب خون میعلمه.
But just like I'm saying, just make sure you actually see somebody before you fire because you don't know what lies on beyond.
نه کلاکا چکان ضرورت نداره گالش ما وشما اینجا چای خوردم دو تا تک نبود از اینا.
Professionals don't do that. You know, professionals make sure they know their target and what lies beyond their target. Professionals don't just shoot out in the crowd. They're supposed to be professionals. You guys are professionals. That's why you don't do that.
And then 3 weeks later, the deputy commander got shot right through his body and scraped his lungs, and the Marine medics saved him, and they found a bag of heroin in his pocket. So I'm sure these guys were on heroin.
Are you putting your men back on the sandbags? You gonna have them carry them out here?
خپل کسانو ته وویل چې دغه ټول دغه بوجیان راولي.
تو سم ورته چای پیر راځي په دغه څو وجو سره دغه د بوجي دغه بل خلاص.
The lesson of the day was filling sandbags. The police got bored of that very quickly, pulled over a car at their checkpoint and just got some civilians and then some kids to fill and carry the sandbags for them. This is Major Bill Stuber. He's in charge of the police advisory team, 18 Marines who go out to all these bases. He spends most of his time at the police headquarters trying to advise the leadership. But the actual police chief vanished 8 days into his job, went on Hajj, hadn't been seen at this point for 2.5 months. The acting police chief has also just vanished, and he's got no idea where he's gone or you know what's happening.
What the hell's going on?
And basically when these guys vanish, they often take all of their commanders with them. So the last time this happened, half of the police force in Sangin just vanished. So every time the US Marines are alone with the Afghans, they have to have a guardian angel. So one of them has got his rifle cocked and his finger on the trigger, ready in case there's an insider attack.
You ever seen the TV show The Sopranos? It's vast. Everything from skimming ammunition off of their supplies to skimming fuel off of their shipments. There's false imprisonment. They'll take people during an engagement. They'll just wrap everybody up that was around it, and then they'll wait for the families to come in and pay them money to be able to release them. All of these vehicles are claimed on their monthly expenditures, so they're getting fuel and oil money for every single vehicle that you see, even though they're obviously they can't run, they can't operate. They only get a handful of vehicles that operate. So in the district, I think they have 25 vehicles, and maybe only 10 or 11 of them actually work. but they're collecting the fuel money and oil money for all the other vehicles, even though they can't actually operate them. Ammunition's the same thing. We count their rounds when they come off the vehicles here, and it's usually the rounds, the RPGs that are getting sold in the bazaar. That'll happen in transit because they know once they get it here and we take inventory of it, we're very watchful as to what's going on with that ammunition. Oh, this was taken off of a dead Taliban. What's interesting is the guy that was wearing this vest, when he came in, he was in the back of one of these trucks like this, and we went up to bring him a white sheet and they wouldn't let us cover him. That was kind of disturbing. I mean, there's just a kid sitting back there, you know, and pissed and shit himself and fucking bleeding all over, and yeah, it sucks. It sucks to see kids get fucking shot.
Did they say why they wouldn't give him a proper burial?
Said he didn't deserve it. And, you know, we brought the sheet for him anyway, just because, you know, whether he's a warrior, he's still a warrior, you know, and deserves to be treated like one, even in death. But they didn't seem to think that way. So that was the first time I'd seen that. So.
What's amazing is he's really candid about this soldier.
He's one of those guys. I mean, he was more sort of emotionally invested in this than anybody else, and he's the one who, you know, I said sometimes almost looked traumatized by what he couldn't do. I was kind of foisted upon him, and he had no choice but to, you know, let me go out filming with him. But he's one of those guys who just couldn't lie. I could ask him questions, and you saw him really wrestling with a good way of saying it, but he couldn't. He just couldn't tell lies, and I really admired him for that.
As an advisor, you know, you're a dog with a lot of bark and a lot of bite. So, you know, there's some things that in order to get the mission accomplished, I'm not going to say, you know, we don't turn a blind eye to anything. We report everything, but there's certain things that, you know, that normally where you would just be like, hey, this is just a no-go. We're not going to do this. That in order to get the mission accomplished, in order for them to actually go out and still hold security and hold PBs, you kind of gotta let it go. You know, things like if we were to go in and shut down all of their schemes, all of their corruption schemes, you would render them completely ineffective. I mean, you take a look around.
Really disheartened, I think, by the end of this, because you know, even when guys were abducting and raping young boys and murdering them, nothing happened as a result of his reports. He was reporting everything he saw up to over 200 people in the chain of command. Nothing was ever done.
You've got guys like this right here. Who are the S1 officer, the administrative officer, and investigating officer who are here from Kabul. They're academy-trained policemen, professional. They can read, they can write. They believe in the rule of law. They believe in securing the population and the people and treating them right. I mean, these are the guys that are easy to work with. But then you have over here a PB commander who we know is kidnapping boys and sexually molesting them, and, robbing the people. I mean, he treats the people of Sangin like a piggy bank that he can just shake and rob, and you know, that's really difficult. You know, how do you work with a guy like that? The natural part of an advisor is you want to have the most effect on things. So it's easy to go work with a professional AUP like this. But really, where we need to be is working with guys like that. So try doing that day in and day out. Working with child molesters, working with people who are robbing people, murdering them. It wears on you after a while.